Hello and welcome once again to another episode of the Scrumcast over at handcannononline.com, where it's so hot in my house my webcam broke. No, I'm kidding. Realistically, I am just far too hot to wear a shirt, and nobody needs to see that. So, with me as always is the press ganger, formerly known as the guy, Mr. Dallas Johnson.
Hey, don't let him fool you. He's podcasting in the nude.
That's cannot confirm or deny that statements. All right, moving on. And with us again is our czar of social media, Fraser Bell for DeffHeadDice on all things social media.
You mean we don't have a dress code? I'm wearing a collared shirt for nothing?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Matt, if you didn't notice, Fraser and I, look at that. You're missing the dress code, my friend.
I'm sorry. Here. Oh, there's your glimpse. Sorry.
My eyes!
I know.
It burns.
So white. All right, gentlemen, we've got a good podcast. We missed last week, and the week before that was a wonderful array of technical difficulties. So
Technical difficulties? We never have those.
no, not at all. The Scrumcast is a very clean run event. We're not trying to cobble it together in basically under an hour every time, and with no cuts.
Oi. I put time into this more than an hour.
Look at that. You got an oi out of him. Did you hear that? You got a full Canadian outburst.
Sorry to interrupt, but I mean, I really... Yeah, anyways.
Hey, I'm not referring to the back end here, Fraser.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying, when we record for basically about an hour straight. We don't cut anything out until Danny gets to it, and we just let it go.
True enough.
Which is fun, because then Danny inevitably gets mad at us for something.
Oh yes, it's spectacular. When it gets solved, it's so
Danny,
good.
while you're listening to this, we really do try. We just suck at what we do.
I'm sorry we're so bad at this, is really what we're saying. All right. So let's move on to the news before we ramble on too long. Fraser has to go to bed later because he's an old man. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and go on. So if some of you were paying attention this week, and I hope some of you were, we had some pretty fantastic leaks come on to our Facebook page. Dallas, you want to fill us in?
No, because I didn't see him. I was on vacation.
That is terrible. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
We're talking about Dallas Kemp visiting
Yes.
TrollbloodScrum.
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, he is one of the studio painters for Privateer Press, and he hopped on to our Facebook page and gave us some Trollblood skin recipe advice, which he paints all the Trollblood skin, so getting it from him's more than a little bit handy.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We started it off, the post was actually us stealing something from the Bell of Lost Souls, the picture of Madrak 3's shield and the spear that he has, which looked awesome, by the way. Like, I can't wait to see what the rules behind that are. But Dallas taunted us with the picture of the Madrak he was painting at Gen Con.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Then I figured, I have nothing to lose. Hey, why don't you tell us how you do it? And he said, sure, and posted the post. Now, it actually was from a thread on the forum that he just cut and paste, but for a moment I felt very special and was really impressed. But it's if you haven't had a chance to take a look, check it out. It looks really good.
To know one of them actually visits our page is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Actually, that was what...
We're almost legitimate.
Almost. Don't get too ahead of yourself. But that's actually one thing.
Dude, I love the way Madrak looks, and I hope he's a combination of Impaler Bouncer, only stronger, because he's a Warlock.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how they change now that Rathrock is gone in that part of the storyline.
Yeah, Circle can suck it.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right, so yes, so fan service to the Scrumcast folks. We had some really cool stuff going on there, and keep your eyes peeled. Maybe we'll get more of it. We just have to poke a little bit more, I think. Yeah. All right, so we have this sort of ongoing theme where we can't not talk about the battle reporter. So take it away, Fraser.
Yeah, I'm only slightly biased towards this one, so I will keep this brief because, to be honest, I haven't had a chance to look at any of it this week. The only thing I want to remind everyone is that at the last page of the tool, which is at wmhbattlereporter.com, if you go to the very last page, there's an option for a community/meta code. And so this is your way to get, you email DeffHeadDice@gmail.com, and you get a unique identifier for your community. And so when you enter that, what you can do is you can take the raw data, and eventually when I have the proper front end that you can show all this stuff, you'll be able to filter down to your meta's results. So all the guys in your community that are playing, they submit their games, and you'll be able to see all that stuff. So if you are using the battle reporter but not using the community code, reach out and you'll get your code. It's I could bore you with the reason why I did the formatting I did, but I send that in the email anyways. And just keep getting those games in, because again, Trollblood players are representing about 22% of the overall game results, which is fantastic. And I'm hoping to have a front end figured out shortly, as well as the update on the Android app we're working on. So that's it. That's as brief as I can get to the battle reporter.
I can dig it. I'm really looking forward to the app because, like, so Iron Grudge is really cool, and I would love to see if we could get that kind of a functionality involved with our data reporting tools, because, like, having that kind of information widely available is going to be super awesome. So, all right, so in the effort of moving this podcast along, we're going to go ahead and go to the next section. We've got a little bit of talk about some games that we've played recently. You know, Fraser, you're the one who does the home machine games. Why don't you hit us up with a few details about your most recent stuff?
I'm trying to remember what my last game was. Oh, my last game was against Bubba. So you can already tell when you play the King of the North when he's playing as Kador, you can almost predict what the ending's going to be. So he brought a who's the cat? And I apologize. I didn't even think I was talking about my game. So the Kador caster that's like a jack. I forget the guy's name.
Karchev.
Karchev. So he brought Karchev with a bunch of jacks. It was pretty much an armor wall with a unit of Widowmakers as well. So it was primarily jacks. I knew he was bringing that, so I countered it with what I thought was my best jack spam counter, which actually was Calandra, because I wanted to be able to adjust the dice and get the extra dice manipulation on the feat turn. Brought 3 slag trolls, a mauler, and a few other pieces I can't remember off the top of my head. And I actually did better than I thought. The slags were able to do some really good work on a number of the jacks. I had a couple positioning mistakes and a few target prioritization that I didn't quite do. If I had focused on a couple of his bigger jacks that came in and killed off the Glacier King, I would have done a little bit better. But overall, I thought it was actually a really good response to jack spam. And Bubba agreed that it's sort of it answers a lot of the how to deal with a lot of that armor on the table. So the game's up on the YouTube channel. So if you do a search for Home Machine, I think it's game number 9 or number 10 from this year. So you can watch it on YouTube. But it was a good game. I enjoyed it. And again, anytime you play Bubba, you always wind up losing. Or not losing, sorry. I meant to say you always wind up learning, but I guess it was a Freudian slip. You also often lose to him. So, but it was a good game.
Awesome. So recently I played against Karchev as well, but I dropped Gristle 2. My list was Mountain King, War Wagon, Stone, Fenblades, and a few other bits and bobs in the back end there, the usual support pieces. And a very similar list. It was 6 jacks, Man of War Shock Troopers, Mechanics, and the Man of War Dracoon, the cavalry solo. I feel like I ran the table pretty well with Gristle because I was so much faster overall. I had the better positioning in the match, and then I lost due to a positional error and forgetting what her feat does, which is now, in addition to the armor, it grants reposition, which, if I'd remembered to do that with all of the pieces that I had, I would have been perfectly fine. But I got super antsy because I was like, I'm going to kill 3 heavies in one turn with my Mountain King, and I just went in all hot and heavy and then completely forgot my plan. So, on a note, I killed 3 heavies and then lost the game. So, there's that. It was a fun game, and it's really teaching me to sort of like get back to basics and try to play as clean a game as I can, and like remember the fundamentals. Like, remember all the stuff on your cards. Make sure you understand exactly what you're doing when you are executing your plan, so that you don't skip a step. Like, that's one of the ways that most players get ahead of themselves, is that they're like, oh, I see a huge opportunity here, and I'm gonna completely skip my plan, and then all of a sudden you left your Warlock hanging in the wind, and you did. So, yes, remember your steps, folks. Remember your steps. Dallas, you got any good games to talk about?
Yeah, we played our last week of the Journeyman League in Armada. And my list, my other caster I chose to go with was Jarl Skold, just because I wanted to see if he was all right, if that makes any sense. And so I had to, of course, keep the battle box. So I had Jarl Skold and then Axer, Bouncer, Impaler. I threw a Mountain King in because, because he's awesome. And then I actually put Braylon Wanderheart in. And this is the second time I played Jarl in the Journeyman League. And I really like Quicken on Braylon early game. And then inevitably she dies, and then you can throw Quicken on Jarl. And then I bring a Fell Collar, a really sweetly painted Kithkar. Somebody awesome painted it. That guy's rad. And then a full unit of Sluggers and a full Stone with the UA.
So did you just love Sluggers to death in that game?
Oh, I love them. So it was a really cool game. Like, he had his Siren flanking with the Slayer, and I was able to move Sluggers up, and one Slugger he rolled 3, and I was or not Sluggers. Braylon, because with Quicken she was fast enough, she just walked up, shot the Siren to death, and then advanced away thanks to her, Swift Hunter? Or a running gun, I mean, so you can make a full advance.
Yeah.
And at speed 8 with Quicken, that full advance is pretty rad. So she moved up, shot the Siren off the table, and then my Sluggers, he had a full unit of Bane Warriors, and then he had the Bane Cavalry, the Bane Witch Lady, a couple of Chicken Jacks, the Slayer, and then he had the two ranged Crix Jacks, one's with a harpoon and one with the AoE gun. I can't remember what they're called. And that side of the table I had Sluggers. Fortunately, there was a wall, but I was in trouble. Fortunately, we had blocking terrain right in the middle, and so as he moved his heavy jacks around to kind of get on one side of my army, I was able to take my Mountain King and my lights up the left side, and we kind of clockworked around. It worked really good. I put Rage on the Kithkar, and he charged in and killed 2 Chicken Jacks in one turn. Which was great because that gave me just enough range to put Rage on the Axer with the Mountain King, and then he got the Stone, Stone Strength as well from the Krill Stone, and I was able to charge Bane Witch, Hoocher, what's her face, and stab her to death with a Power Strength 18 Axer, which is nice. So it worked out pretty good. I think that list can't attrition very well. So as if he'd have survived one more turn, I'd have lost the Mountain King and probably at least 2 of my lights, which would have put me at a couple of Sluggers and a Bouncer and an Impaler, and I can't beat Crix Heavies with that. So fortunately, my Mountain King was able to survive well enough that he got some work done against the Bane Warriors and the Cavalry. And it was a really good game. It was I like Jarl with Magic Bullet. He just doesn't hit very hard, and I keep forgetting that when I build lists for him. He needs something that hits hard. Otherwise he just can't crack anything. You know, POW 12 with POW 12 bounces are just not super strong.
Magic Bullet not as effective as a lot of our other heavy air hitters, but the one thing that Jarl does better than anybody else, though, is scalpel out those pieces that you really don't want on the table.
Oh, the Necrotech didn't stand a chance. He had a Necrotech, and I just kept Magic Bulleting into him. So eventually he had no choice, and the Necrotech was dead.
Mean, even especially in Crix, those auto-hitting POW 12s just like are aces against, Necrotechs and the Starlock. Even Tartarus falls after a couple of rounds of that.
Yeah. Well, Jarl does that really well. He's pretty fast, and he's got Swift Hunter, so he can move around a little bit if he's killing things. It's pretty helpful. So overall I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. I look forward to dropping some of the battle box lights and putting in some other things.
Faster pieces.
Yeah, Earthborns.
Yeah, Earthborns would be good. You know what else with Jarl? The Freight Scout would be really good with him.
Yeah, the Scouts would be good with him. That's true.
Yeah,
the Minion Scouts, not the. Yeah, they'd be good.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, they're great.
Otherwise, the Kithkar's pretty bonkers. I didn't put Rage on the Kithkar. It was the Stone. But the Kithkar, even with just the Krillstone strength thing, he's bonkers. He hits like a friggin' truck.
Oh yeah, he puts stuff in the dirt. And he draws a lot of attention too right now, which is actually pretty important when you consider how important a lot of our pieces are.
Well, he kept trying to go after the Kithkar with my Axer standing next to him. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But it worked out pretty good. I wish Shield Guard worked on magic attacks, but other than that,
yeah, not terrible.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Sorry to cut you off there, Dallas.
I'm done.
Are you sure you weren't just going to continue to ramble?
Blah 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 blah. Shut up.
So I know I in particular have been pretty heavy into hobby right now, and I just received a gift from one of the guys who was a guest host on our podcast the other day, Dev and Marc, Devonian Mar on Facebook, or I forget what his name on the forums is, but super sweet guy. Found out I had not started to play Ragnar because I didn't have him, and he's thirsty for list tech, and so he sent me a Ragnar Sky Splitter. So I went to work last night after I'd received him, and I've got his custom base mostly worked out right now. I've got a whole bunch of RuneShaper bits that are going to be collecting dust now because, well, Runes of War no longer a thing. So I've got some plans for those nice spinny rocks, and it's going to be pretty fun. Like I've started to make some pretty good strides with the way that Cork comes together on bases, and like I talked about on the last podcast I was on, where you can really change up a dynamic pose in trolls by making them changing the angle at which they stand so that they look like they're elevating or descending upon your foes. So I've been working on that. And then the standards with a little bit of static grass and some extras, and it's going to be a pretty fun sculpt. Fraser, you working on anything fun?
Unmute.
Nope.
Unmute. There we go.
I'm trying to tell you you're muted, and I'm muted too.
I am still. To be honest, I'm still working on these damn fen blades. I've been slowly working through. The only thing I've really had of note is there's a hobby store on the east end of Toronto, or the east side of Toronto, that carries all the Vallejo stuff. So I found 2 new paints. One I think everyone knows of, which is the Game Color Air. I've been using some of their the gold metallics as just out of the on using a brush. Fantastic stuff. But I also found there's a new line that they have. It's a bigger bottle, and they have one that's called Exhaust Manifold. It's almost like a greeny metallic. Like it's just got this subtle hint of just like a little bit of green to it. And it's like when you put it on the fen blades, it's almost like you're already done a wash when you put the first load of paint on. It's amazing stuff. Now it's expensive. It's like $12 a bottle when the other ones are like $4 a bottle for about twice the stuff. But if you can get a hold of this stuff, the line is fantastic, and it's actually better than the Model Air stuff. So that's the only real hobby thing is I've been falling in love with that really dark gray or dark colored with a slight sheen on the metallics on the armor. But I'm still working on these fen blades. They're almost in time for the tournament I'm going to this weekend. Everything else is unpainted, but my fen blades are almost done.
Excellent. Dallas, got anything other than your work project going?
God, no. My work found out I can paint miniatures, and so they gave me a job. I have to paint miniature work displays. So that's what I'm doing for the next week and a half. I did start painting whelps since I'm going to be playing the Mountain King a lot more than I did in Mark II. And I have a sweet Glacier King coming.
Oh,
Is that...
No, that's
yours.
that's my Mountain King.
I got excited for just a minute because you guys bringing it up.
I have an update for that when you're done. So
okay, but so I have right now I have 15 whelps. I started painting them. I got about 5 of them done, and then I'm enlisting some help from one of the guys at the shop. His wife paints models and wanted some practice, so I'm like, hey, practice on these. So. But yeah, whelps. That's it. Awkward silence.
Yeah, just a little. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next section. First, I'll let you introduce this because you're the one who basically exposed me to it. So, we're basically going to go ahead and help out a listener who wrote into us trying to get some feedback on lists. And that is a Grim 1 list. So, Fraser, you want to give us the details?
Sure. This was Marc who reached out through the forums, through a PM through the forums, which I don't think I've ever had a private message through the forums before. So thank you, Marc. So he had 2 lists that he was looking at, and he had 3 questions. What is the list weakness? How do our opinion on the battle group, and we'll go into the 2 lists he provided, and the thoughts on highwaymen versus bushwhackers. So quickly, the lists are very similar. There's just a few changes. So the first list is Grim 1 with a Mountain King, and that in his battle group, and then he's got Alton Ashley, was it Dahlia Haller? Is that how you pronounce it? Dahlia, and the minion.
We call her the Snake and the Chick.
The Snake and the Chick. There we go. Hutchuck, Wrong Eye, and Snapjaw. 2 Northkin Shaman, and then a max unit of Highwaymen. So that was the first group, and that's 75 points. The second one is, I believe, identical with the exception of the battle group, which is a bomber and a mauler instead of the Mountain King. So what he's looking for is what is the weaknesses, and what do we think about the battle group? I think are the first 2 things we can cover off. I mean, the first thing I think it was.
I didn't mean to clear my throat. I'm like, I'll mute myself and then clear my throat.
So let's start with the battle group. So I don't think that the Mountain King is the most ideal battle group for Grim. Grim wants a little bit of output, a little bit of utility, and a little bit of control. And the Mountain King provides one of those. Maybe a little bit of control, just in that he's a huge base that you can't move around at all, and so you can plop it in the zones where they can't push it out. But the Grim's real strengths come from keeping things away and utilizing the feet to keep your opponent at bay for as long as possible. The Mountain King, that is not his kit at all. With a range 10 at maximum gun and it's a spray, it just does not fit. Furthermore, when he's also thinking about adding in Dahlia and Halir, they fit Grim's kit really well, but not the Mountain King. It's sort of a weird Scornergy in there a little bit. His other battle group seems fine. Mauler Bomber's great. Ranged and melee damage. And then you've also got the control of the list and Dahlia and Halir, which will allow you to control a lot of board space, giving you the upper hand when you need to send the Mauler in. And then also having the gun to threaten when things come close. So I just feel like, just to get started, the battle group is probably the thing that I find the most wonky. And now I just looked and found Wrong Eye and Snapjaw in there, and my concerns are even worse. So
well, I think with Wrong Eye and Snapjaw, people like the idea of star-crossed and what is it, submerge, but I don't know if for his cost, for 17 points, there feels like a lot more Trollblood options that you can use that probably would give you more output than them. The Snake and the Chick kind of fit his kit, like you said. They fit him pretty good. I like the second battle group with the Mauler and Bomber. The Bomber's pretty balls. He's good. I like the Bomber a lot. And then where's Hutchuck? I gotta look at Hutchuck again. Hutchuck's good for ambush.
Hutchuck is good, but okay, so think about this. Instead of taking the Wrong Eye and Snapjaw, you instead take the War Wagon in that list. That seems natural to me. That War Wagon fits Grim's kit so well. It has melee punch, it has ranged punch, it has knockdown tech, it has everything that he wants and does already. It's basically just giving him an excellent control piece, and you're not really sacrificing output. And Star-Crossed, I mean, you could already boost. It's sort of a wasted mechanic on such a small.
There's just not enough range on Wrong Eye and Snapjaw, and you're investing a lot of points in a lesser warlock that can be killed pretty easily, and then you're out of, I don't know. I think the War Wagon's a much better choice. Fraser's holding up a finger.
Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt. But also, Starcross is only the control, so you're only talking an 8-inch range on the Starcross. Yeah, so it has to either be in the thick of it, or if it's off to the side, it's lost. Just a quick side note. Someone in the chat was asking where would you put the War Wagon in a list. My comment to them was, well, Matt would put a War Wagon in every list, and then 10 seconds later, you said you wanted a War Wagon in this list. So thank you for proving my point.
Well, the War Wagon works really good with this list, especially with some of its knockdown tech, and then with Grimm's feet. It really helps you keep things away from him. I like there's not an Impaler. Grimm doesn't need one. He doesn't need Far Strike. I feel like you should run him more aggressively. Got to get really good at that 12-inch distance, but with pre-measuring, that shouldn't be much of an issue anymore.
Did they reduce the range? I thought he was 13.
What did I say?
12.
No, 12 for his control.
Oh, yeah.
But you just have to get with pre-measuring. It's not an issue.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
You want to keep him between 12 and 13.
Well, and honestly, it doesn't super matter too, because like if he's got the bomber in the battle group, you've got access to snipe anyway. So.
Oh, that's right. There's a bomber. Well, yeah, in the second list. I always forget the bomber has. For me, the bomber is expensive. I have a hard time fitting him in the lists, even though he's really, really good.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the output. Like, the output's got to be one of those things where, like, okay, you know you're going to get legs on a model like the Bomber because he'll actually connect during Grimm's V-turn and with Grimm's kit. But with a lot of others, it's really hard to justify that Rat 5.
The Bomber he can kill a lot, especially with Grimm. Like on feet turn, you can really pull off an assassination if they've moved their caster anywhere within 17 inches of the Bomber. If Grimm can move up in feet, you're going to kill their caster.
Yeah.
In almost every circumstance.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to deal with when you're considering those, those POW 16s. God damn, POW 16 guns, ridiculously good.
Well, and throw in War Wagon and Bomber on Grimm's feet, not a whole lot can keep you from doing whatever you want for at least a turn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you mark for death hit with a snare gun, like, that's a game over. Like, I don't see how somebody doesn't die. I mean, unless they just have complete, blackout of line of sight. So that's my first impression. Fraser, what would you like to expand on for these lists?
I agree with the War Wagons. Just only because I've been able to have opportunities to play it recently, and it's just so good. I'm curious and I'm just going to look at the list again here. I'm curious about the Northkin Shaman. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what they bring to the list that justifies 2, let alone 1.
Oh God, I mean, I can't remember even off the top of my head what that model does. That model didn't even enter my frame of thought when I first looked at the card, so I haven't even given it a moment's notice.
Which one are we talking about?
The Northkin Shaman.
Oh, I mean, he has Pathfinder. He's got some magic attack.
He's got a magic spray, doesn't he? Or he can turn.
Yeah, the chiller. What is it? Cold Snap gives chiller to him, which can be helpful. If something doesn't have immunity cold, you can give -2 defense to something within 2 inches of him. Speed 5 Pathfinder's okay. Freak Storm's alright for the Cloud. I don't know. I don't know. He's magic ability 6. He's got a POW 12 8-inch spray. Freak Storm just allows him to move, but it does put a 3-inch AoE cloud effect on the board. So he's got some weird movement shenanigans and stuff. Utility-wise, I don't know. I mean, if you need filler, I can see him as an okay 4-point filler.
And I think one of the things we have to start asking people to provide is what their meta is like who are they playing against? Do they want to play these lists into scenario or to
true.
And those kind of variables as well, and sort of plan
his
how they want to use them.
His second list has 2 Shaman and Swamp Gobbers, so you've got 10 points, and for 10 points, at least 7 of those points, I could bring Fire Eaters, or for 10 points, you can bring a Slag Troll if you're playing against War Machine, or I mean, there's a lot of other things you can use even 8 points on in Trollblood's. So, sorry, that's my phone. Podcasting excellence. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Shaman. He could have some utility, but you might consider 8 points worth, or even 10 points worth of a light war beast.
I feel like the battle group probably didn't need to be expanded. However, our solo options are so much better. Plus, that's a unit of Fire Eaters. 2 of those dudes.
Fire Eaters are so
Fire Eaters.
I personally play Fire Eaters in almost every list.
Yeah.
Or Sluggers. Sorry.
Sluggers are great. Not gonna lie.
I like
Okay.
I know Fire Raiders, bang for their buck, just for that point slot would be even better. Like I'm not seeing the utility there that's gonna be good enough in that list.
Plus, they have so much threat as well. That there's the psychological effect on those guys as well, knowing that the 3 fight.
Well, you're only bringing min sluggers if you do sluggers.
Yeah, but I mean the Fire Raiders got 15 inches of potential threat every turn. That's kind of silly.
No,
I see there's Highwaymen in the list. Highwaymen are good with their volume of attacks. They've got a really good volume of attacks. But I think I like Bushwhackers better just for their range and combined the CRA. On that list in particular, it gives you another piece that can reach out and touch something from pretty far away that will help you on your assassination run. There's not a lot of attrition in this list. Yeah. So you're looking for a good angle to take away key pieces on the peace trade or go for the assassination. What else did I see? I like Alton Ashley a lot. His Mark III version of him is really a lot better than his Mark II version. Absolutely. And he was pretty good to begin with. But his attack does D3 plus 3 now instead of D6. And so he's always doing between 4 and 6 instead of between 1 and 6. So he's he's good now. plus with camouflage, or not camouflage, stealth.
And grievous wounds as well, right? So that's significant.
Let me pull him up. God, I've played him enough. I should have it memorized, but...
Now, while you're doing that, the one thing that sort of stuck out to me is...
Prowl reposition. Yeah, go ahead.
Grim is a Fury 6 caster. If he does bring the Mountain King, he's only got a 5 Fury limit. So, is that a good... Would you automatically take a second one, or would you just wind up cutting yourself to get back up to 6 every turn?
I would cut myself if it was me.
You're so emo.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've run solo Mountain Kings battle group before. It's not undoable, and with trolls, you're resilient enough that like 1 or 2 or 3 damage over the course of 3 turns is not going to kill you. The one thing that you need to remember though is that your opponent's going to start to feel the pressure when you're so aggressive, and that often causes them to retaliate in a way that is not what you anticipate, which means they're going to try and kill you.
Yep.
Leave that Mountain King open. Like, plan your turn, know your threat ranges, and leave that Mountain King open. Because your opponent, they know, like, they're going to try and kill you. That will be a thing.
What else? Swamp Gobber's nice for help. Yeah, there's some consideration there. Like I said, I think Wrong Eye Snapjaw is probably the most easily expendable piece. Maybe look at trading him for something, and then the pair of Shaman could be fun. You might look at some Fire Eaters or something along that lines to give you more. I mean, Fire Eaters with Willed Secrets is pretty rad. So, but yeah, overall I like Grim a lot. I think he's still one of my most favorite warcasters, even with his Mark III iterations. So. Can't go wrong with Grim. Figure it out, see how it works. Let us know what happens.
Yeah, thanks to Marc for submitting that and letting us take a crack at it and let us know how the results are.
I lied there for a second. What just happened?
We're having mute problems.
No, I'm serious. Like, if I think it was on my end, Fraser went garbled, and I was like, what's going on? So please repeat the statement so that I can actually answer you like a human being.
We closed it all up for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're all done. You don't even have to talk about it anymore. You can move on.
God.
Am I still garbled?
No, seriously. No, you're good. Please tell me what the hell happened.
I thanked Marc for submitting this list and let us know how it works out for him.
Oh, good. So it didn't actually have to be addressed to me directly. That's fantastic. Let's move on.
I didn't lie to you.
Dallas, I have to think of every statement out of your mouth as a way to troll me. So, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. All right, so moving on to the next section here, and more poignantly because Fraser's going to a team-style tournament here over the course of this next weekend, yes?
That is correct.
Yeah, let's talk about List Chicken.
Yes.
So, we've got this lovely, lovely element of, I mean, I hesitate to call it strategy. I feel like it's rolling the dice just as much as you do in-game. Like, you're trying to anticipate what your opponent wants to drop based on what you think that he thinks that you will drop. So, this is actually sort of in our favor right now, because we have a very, very powerful single list and single warlock that can definitely skew how your opponent wants to drop. So I've been playing this game a long time, and much like Dallas, that you can see there's some psychological cues with players when they think they've got it sort of figured out, or they think they know what the troll player is going to play. Mostly because the wider community at large figures troll players are just sort of predictable in a way. So Madrak 2 really gives us an advantage in that respect, because he is so powerful right now and so polarizing, and people are so scared of him. And it would not surprise me at all if people are coming up with ways to try and deal with him. Not that I know what the way to deal with him is. I can't wrap my brain around a way that you don't lose to Madrak right now. Outside of a few like really super corner case, niche issues. Like, not even considering that Karchev list that you went up against Fraser. Like, I'm pretty certain Madrak just fucking kills that and is fine. So what we're going to talk about, though, is sort of the approach. Now, I'm going to go ahead and lead with Dallas, since he's got the most experience out of all of us. Given Madrak 2's prowess right now, how does List Chicken really, look to you right now? I feel like we have the run of the table.
I hate the List Chicken term, just because I'm going to do whatever crap I want anyways. I don't really care what they're going to drop. And I don't like trying to go, oh, if they drop this, I want that, or if they drop that, I want this. And Madrak 2 really helps us with that, because they all assume you're going to drop Madrak 2, and if you do, you're going to win. But if they give you a really bad matchup, or if you have to change lists or for any reason, Madrak 2 lets you do whatever the crap you want with your other list, which is awesome, which lets you skew really heavily whatever direction you'd like to go. Outside of Madrak 2, and really lets you do what you want. So if there's a scenario that maybe favors Gristle better, you can do that. Or if you'd like to go for Assassination, which you don't, but if you'd like to, you could go with Grim. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways you can really skew hard if you'd like to, because Madrak 2 is so solid. Assuming, of course, you bring Madrak 2, which I don't see why... Right now, I don't see why he's not one of our lists, unless you're screwing around or you just want to try something different. But I like that you get to do whatever the heck you want. I like that you can skew really hard on your other list, and then you don't even really have to play it.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I think
I like it a lot.
I think the only consideration you really need to take into account is that trolls still suffer from a lack of ways to deal with hard control.
Yep.
But we also don't have a really great way to deal with hard control. Like, the best way that we deal with it is either by being super resilient or by being super fast. So if you're really having a problem dealing with things like Kruger, Haley, Denny, some other Crix matchups, and you have a hard time dealing with those hard control elements, you have to reach to a warlock who can handle that. Gristle 1 is like Madrak's dream right now.
Oh, she's so good.
She's still so good. I mean, there's so little that's changed. She's still great. She's resilient. Her army
even with her feet nerf, she's just good.
She's still good. Well, she was over the top before, so now she's still good. Gristle 2 is another one that you need to take into account here too, because the armor skew is real. The speed of the list is real. Gristle's super hard to assassinate. Like, her stats are ridiculous. I mean, 15-17 before bust is stupid. Like, that easily gets to 15-21 on her feet if you're engaged. And her gun is ridiculous.
Dude, it's 18-19 if they're trying to shoot you at ranged attacks.
Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous.
She's
because deflection.
Awesome. Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
she's so good now. And she will just kill you. Like, don't get in her gun range. She will kill you. Like, that is not a thing that won't happen. Like,
Well,
Crystal
and
will just
wailing
shoot
takes
you.
away all their ability to counter.
And think about it on the fucking platform of a Mountain King. Wailing on a Mountain King? Holy shit. And then, of course, again, back to Crystal's gun. Crystal's gun's ridiculous. Like, she will just kill you by herself. And then her army will just walk over and teabag you. Like, that is what will happen.
You just said teabag. That's
This is a true statement.
playing Halo again.
So, there's still other options. Grim has good control. He's good against crits. Grim 2's the same way. Grim 2's redonkulous right now, too.
Yeah, I like Grim 2 a lot right now.
Whew, so fun. We have such good guns. Like, my God, people play the shit out of all this stuff. It's so good. Fraser, you're the one who's got the least experience with this. Give me your 2 cents here, buddy.
Well, I'm bringing Madrak 2, which is actually the list we talked about before, which is Madrak, Mulg, the Pyre Troll, max unit of Fen Blades, the Warders, a Fell Caller, and Kithkar, and the full unit of Tuffalos. So that's the one.
Yeah.
And I've played it a couple times. I've had to apologize to people before I start my feat, and just had way too much fun. So that list I'm solid with. I'm pairing that with my gunny list, which is the one we talked about a few episodes ago, which is the Glacier King, War Wagon, Dozer and Smig, 2 units of Fire Eaters, Min Stone, and actually I swapped out my Max Stone in the UA to just take a Min Stone, and I managed to squeeze in Alton Ashley with that. So I'm playing a point down, but I figured Alton Ashley's
super good with Snipe. Holy moly, he's so good.
But Snipe is only friendly faction, I thought.
No, friendly. It's always been friendly.
Oh, it's friendly? Oh, then even better.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
now you can use your Alton Ashley to punish your opponents from relative safety,
Hey,
18 plus inches away.
Slow down, Turbo. It's friendly faction now.
Oh, is it now? Oh, the spell's even friendly faction?
But still, 14.
Snipe, target friendly faction model units ranged weapon.
Oh, damn, you'll have to deal with 14 inches of range.
But you have three
darn it.
position.
You only get 14 inches of range.
Anyway, I love Gunny. Oh my God, do I love Gunny. Now, Gunny and Dozer and Smig are, like, they are just so good together. Those two guys will just, like, basically take 3/4 of a Warp Wolf off in a turn without a second thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is so fun. And when you crit with Gunny, everything gets better. God. Gunbjorn's so good. His control elements are really, really underrated right now, though. The wall, I mean, people liked walls before, but I think they sort of glossed over how good they were because we had one on a stick. Now, when you take into effect how good it is with Gunbjorn, how he can use it as a positioning tool, as a defense tool, as a charge denying tool, like, so good. I think that's pretty excellent. Now, the one thing that you could do too with this list is like, so Magic plays into a lot of cricks, but what like in your particular instance, Gunbjorn plays into cricks really well as well because he can just kill their whole army like not a problem. No worries about tough, no worries about line of sight, like, so you could really play off a cricks player's fear, and you could have that Gunbjorn list to threaten their control list. Their Denny 2, even Scabrous is actually pretty control-y right now with his spell list. And Gunbjorn threatens the shit out of those guys, like particularly Scabrous. Scabrous just die to that list. And then you've got Madrak to clean up the rest. Because, like, if they try to drop their, like, heavy troop spam, Madrak just fucking wipes the table with it. And if you drop Gunny and they drop their, like, control-y list, Gunny just shoots them to death, and then he controls the board. Like, it's pretty good. I like that quite a bit.
And my biggest concern, and this is actually the reason I brought the topic up, is if people see Madrak, they're not going to, I mean, if I was going into Madrak, I would not put a heavy list against him because I know he could just chew through it, right? So that's why I'm thinking if they know they see Madrak, are they automatically going to drop something that Madrak doesn't work well into? And I guess sort of got to figure out. Or, I mean, if I got a shooty list, I'm Gunny because of his feet and gives me the time to get where I need to be, and with the amount of AoEs and and damage I can do that way. I'm comfortable with that. It's just I'm just the way when I originally thought about this, I'm thinking, am I going to immediately look at both lists, figure they're not gonna drop anything that's gonna be good into Madrek, so I'm gonna be stuck playing Gunny all week, all day, which is not a bad thing because I like the list. But
Yeah, that's totally not terrible. And Fraser,
No, not terrible.
if I were you, I would look at the list and decide fast and use that psychology in your favor.
Okay.
So they don't see you going, I'm going to play this one, I'm going to play that one. You've already decided, and you've decided so quickly, they're going to automatically assume you're going with Madrek 2.
Yeah. And the nice thing about the team tournament format is we basically get to pair them. We get to at least have a little bit of control on which list we're going up against into. So there is.
Well, you know what? You're going to have the easiest time right now because your team's just going to be like, all right, who can, like, basically, you're like, since you're a learning player and you're not like the top end of a troll player who's really super experienced with Madrak and super good, your team's just going to be like, all right, who's the middling player that has the faction that doesn't really know how to play well against trolls? And you're just going to be able to play Madrak all day and steamroll the shit out of your opponent. And that's basically what's going to happen. And I know most of these formats now they're 2-list optional, right? So you can choose. Yeah. Oh, you're probably just going to play Madrak 4 times a day, or your opponent's going to make you, or your team's going to make you play Hardball, and then you're going to play Gunny all day because your opponent's going to automatically assume that you're going to play Madrak.
Yeah.
Because
it works to your favor. Like I said, it works to your favor just to walk up with confidence.
Yep.
Whether you've actually decided or not, that's the issue. But you're gonna give off the air that you know exactly what you're playing before anyone's decided anything, and they're gonna take a look at your 2 lists. They're going to pee their pants, and then they're going to hope that they have a chance.
Yeah, well, thankfully, there's not a lot of other troll players in the whole tournament, of which one of them's on our team. So we have, between the 2 of us, we've got my Madrak 2 and Gunny. He's bringing Grim 2 and Ragnar. So we've got some of the best. We've got a good, solid selection of trolls on our side.
That's not terrible.
Yeah.
Ragnar's the weakest caster of the 4 of them. He's not very weak. So.
No, God, that's a B+ right there.
Dude, +6 strength on pretty much anything that's a war beast, please. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, seems pretty good. Oh, I'm gonna delve into that here pretty soon. I've already got my list dojo going on this guy here.
Oh man, it's so much fun. That's why I switched. One of the other reasons I switched to a different caster because I started feeling bad. Because I would throw in. Well, I put the Mauler in, and then I put with the Krillstone, a Mauler. My Axer would run in at +6 with pulverizer on him, and a power strength 20 Axer with Thresher kills whatever he wants to. So,
seems pretty good.
Plus you can do that all with the Impaler and have a power strength 19 throw with crit slam.
Well, and you can do it with any beast. Just like do it.
It's
6 strength.
It's fun. You'll find out that he plays a little bit more fast and loose than the other ones.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the same control.
That's my play style. Like that's.
I know. But so you'll just be able to run right down their throats and then feet and just laugh at them while they try to do something, because your next turn you're gonna kill them.
How stupid is it that we're talking about a feat that was literally part of another Warlock's feat before? That's how fucking busted that feat was.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It is pretty bad.
It was glorious at the time.
Yes, it was. Poor Dewey 3, too, is just, like, languishing now.
Yeah.
He has nothing to do.
No
He's still so good, but all of our other options are just so much better right now. And I think that part of that is, like, we're still sort of waiting for the dust to settle in the meta, right? So once people sort of figure out, get their compass about how list building needs to be, where the trends are, we'll start to see a lot more people branching out. But for right now, obviously everybody's gravitating towards the stuff that's really, really good. And it's very clear right now what's really, really good.
Well, I just like that we have so many good other options that when you start switching up your casters, we're still going to have a fantastic chance at doing well. So.
Yeah, and I like that it's good enough that it's not just the Madrak plus kind of option, too. So there's always that. All right, well, I think that we've meandered along quite long enough this evening. Fraser is going to turn into a pumpkin here pretty soon.
50 minutes. That's a new record, I think.
No. I think we did a 45 once. Like,
What?
I was just like,
It's because
tired.
Skype crashed on us.
Oh, man, no. I think it was an episode where I was like, I was just super tired, and I'm like, nope, done. Good night.
Oh, I remember that one. We
Yep.
didn't talk about anything.
No, we didn't talk about a goddamn thing. And I was just like, no, Bob, chill, we're done.
That's why we don't charge for TrollbloodScrum there, folks.
You get what you pay.
Well, gentlemen, do we have anything to close on?
There was a number of people that had posted questions to the Facebook page, and there are some fantastic questions, but we didn't really have much time to touch on any of them, so we'll try to get to them next week.
I will log on Facebook.
Let's do that next week. We'll do that right away after news next week.
Okay.
I will log on Facebook and respond. Get some discourse.
A little bit. Don't ruin our thunder.
I'm not going to ruin it. I don't break everything I touch.
No, we
like
did touch.
Rathrock.
We did touch on a few things, though. Did you break his Rathrock?
No.
I didn't break it.
Okay.
Sorry, Matt. I couldn't help it. I'm a bad person.
So watch when he's painting his little diorama there over the course of the next week. See how many times he drops it. Muted.
And so so we'll do Facebook, and the other thing of note at this point, I'm almost 100% sure that I will be at Lock and Load next year. I've been working on the logistics, so I am looking forward to meeting everyone who goes out there. So I am very excited.
Fantastic.
That's pretty rad.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, on that bombshell, this has been the Scrumcast, signing off.
All right, gents.
Awesome.